Hey, after I watched the first 4 episodes yesterday, I ended my night with watching nothing but The Big Bang Theory till I went to sleep. I said, I need to get this out of my mind. Not thinking about this no more.
Yeah, I definitely I took a break, man. I don't think this is not one of those ones where I would be like, yeah, I'm a binge
Never
this
again.
season.
Nope.
I have to watch it like a week to week kind of situation. It's just way too much. And even if it was structurally done well, I think that I would still need a week. Honestly, like it's just way too much. It's way too much, bro. Like if it was done very well, like to the level of way they did with Watchmen, I would need a little bit of time. What's going on out there, YouTube family? This is Sammy Legger here representing Team JBS. I'm just having a discussion with my man Lucas here. We're talking about Lovecraft Country. So we're about to dissect in spoiler fashion episode 4, A History of Violence. Is that the name of it?
Yes, named after one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, that was a dope movie.
Uh-huh.
That was a dope movie.
And then they did an Indiana Jones episode. Craziness.
Oh my gosh. So the way that this episode starts, you guys, is you have Atticus's dad, and he, of course, is tormented with a lot of different things that we have no idea about.
Yep. We get a hint though. We get a hint at the beginning of this episode about what he say.
We got a little bit of hint. I'll let Lucas go into that, but from what we saw from an imagery standpoint, he was drinking, he was getting upset, and he had the book, which I'll let Lucas go into what that book actually is, and he just burns it and he just watches it burn. Very interesting, like imagery and iconography, because he is a very good actor. Kenneth is a great actor, but in my head, I was like, all right, bet. We're going to get everything about who the dad is, what drives him, what motivates him, what gets him to the point that he treats Atticus in the way that he treats him. Like, and that's not what we got. that's not, we get certain things about him, but most of the time they treat Kenneth like he's a bumbling dad, bro. Like
the worst.
Low key, they made him look like. Never mind. I ain't gonna say. Go into what you were gonna say about the book. I'll get into him in a second.
I think I paid attention from when he was burning it, like at the beginning of it. You see him throw the book in the trash can. He lights it on fire, and then he says it smells like Tulsa.
Yeah.
Now that goes back to an earlier conversation that him and Uncle George was having about everything that happened prior. So at that point, I think we get a glimmer of the man that he is and how such a smell like that could bring him back and how important that fire is also. Now, that's not explained to us by the end of this episode, but maybe we'll get there by episode 6 or 7. Maybe they can explain then of why that's so important here. Yeah. But that's what I meant by it. It gives you a glimmer into possibly his thinking with everything else that happens in this episode, including the holding secrets from Atticus and not informing him everything because he thinks it's for his better good. Like, but this is an episode. And I mean, like, Atticus could be Nicolas Cage. Letty could be the white woman who's his wife. I can't remember her name now. And the dad in here is John Voight from National Treasure as they just go treasure hunting, because that's all this episode is. A horrible treasure hunting episode.
It is a mixture of National Treasure and Pirates of the Caribbean, you guys. Low key. And I don't even know how we got to the Pirates of the Caribbean part, but you'll know what I mean when you see it. But it was weird because in the very beginning of the episode, I was like, yo, Atticus, what are you doing, dog? Like, what are you
exactly?
Why are you withholding information? One, why are you acting like a jerk? Two, and it's like, I mean, from what Lucas was saying, you know, of course his dad did it to him. He withheld information to try to protect him or in his own way. And so of course he did the same exact thing to Letty. And he also dealing with, you know, a lot of PTSD from the last 3 episodes, as well as his times in the war. But I mean, he hasn't displayed this much hostility up until this episode.
Yep.
And it was all kind of like thrown at Letty, and it put them all in a situation because then they involved the freaking family. And involved Uncle George's family and putting them in danger. And I was kind of like, why do y'all not just tell them? Like, tell these men what happened? Because
they still haven't told Uncle George's wife how he died.
Why not? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it doesn't make sense why they haven't told her. Like, either way, they're going to be in jeopardy. Either way, they're in danger. Y'all are family, bro. Like, if somebody went for them, it's kind of like they took that, like, movie trope. It's like, oh, I'm not going to tell my family to not get them in trouble. Like, bro, like, tell me so I can get out. So I can have a gun ready or something. Like, they have no clue. They have no clue, bro. And it just doesn't add to the volume of what's really going on. The importance of what was supposed to be important in this episode, them getting to what are they trying to get at you, bro? You explain to me what I know what it is, but maybe you can say it with.
They're trying to get to.
I'm gonna say it negatively, so maybe you can say it more better than me.
Titus's Book of Life. I think I'm saying it right.
Yeah,
and it will help protect them from Christina.
Supposedly.
Yeah, supposedly. So that's their goal to get, because at the beginning of the episode, we have a scene where Letty's at her house and Christina attempts to walk into her house, and the negative things that happened in the last episode protect the house from her going inside. So at this point, she's now perceived as a threat. And Atticus already sees her as a threat, and I think we skipped a lot. We skipped something major. I think it happened in episode 3 when Atticus attempted to shoot her, and it didn't work. Was that the end of episode?
Yeah, it was the end of episode 3. Atticus was trying to shoot her, but could not, and he found out that the locket or the protection that Samuel had. Now she has that protection on her, and she cannot be killed by the same means. And essentially, she's an immortal at this point, I guess. I guess that's what she's saying.
And now they're trying to get Titus's Book of Life, because hopefully that will awaken things in Atticus that will allow him to then perform witchcraft and save Letty and his dad. Yep. Yep. Now you understand my look, because you looking the same way I look when I say, no, that's not gonna work. But
look, I the reason why I wanted Lucas to deliver that, because if I would have said it, I would have said it as condescending and as mean as possible. And y'all know me, I'm not like that. I don't. That's not my vibe, you know. But is it really? Wait, what is the issue here? Christina evidently, if she really wanted to kill y'all, she could have killed y'all
already.
And so
that's why it makes no sense.
And so it's like, oh yeah, she went to Letty's house that was freaking haunted, that had dead people in it, that she had to go and
looking for the ghost you killed. That's what she was. But they also mentioned something. And they don't spend enough time to let you understand that Christine owns Letty's house.
Yep. That's where the money came from.
Yeah. Like, that's something they should have stuck on just a little bit longer, just to explain that to you. Like, this is what's going on here in this situation.
Yeah. But it's kind of like...
Nope.
Christina put Letty in the house. Right? Why? You know,
again, I don't know if this is the part of this show that keeps me watching, is because I need answers to all of these questions that don't make sense so far.
Yeah.
Like, why would that be a necessary thing to do?
Yeah, like, because she could have put Atticus there. She could have gave Atticus the money and said, Atticus, I need you to be in this home. If you want Letty or anybody else to reside in here, do it. But you owe me a favor later on. She goes to the house. She's like, all right, yo, where's this dude at? I got to take care of this. I need to get down to the Chamber of Secrets so we can get through the hole and get to the journal and get the page I need. But that's not what happened.
They were Ron, Harry, and Hermione. And multiple times down there.
And instead, we got a bumbling dad, we got an overzealous son, and we got this gung-ho superhero female in Letty.
Dude.
And she just... Yo, when Letty was in the water, this is mad as fire, just swimming away. I'm gonna save you, Atticus, but I'm mad at you.
See, at least you got to the water part to think that. I got to the part where it was, we need the map from Titus. And she breaks the glass, throws the map down the hole, and says, I'm coming. What? Why?
And it's all stemmed from Atticus's incessant need to be all, I don't know, douchey for no good reason.
Yes.
And so, again, this goes back to what we were talking about. Was there really an actual threat here? Or are you guys just panicking? The dad technically is the only sensible one because he was like, bruh, look, I'm only around because I don't want you to kill yourself, Atticus. I kind of care about you a little bit, but, you know, I knew you would do this anyway, so I'm just tagging along. Bruh, if I was the dad, I would have knocked Atticus out and said, no. We are not going. I'm not helping you, and there's nothing you can do to make me help you. Like, there was no reason for them to even go there. The dad knows full well what the threat really is. And that's made apparent by the end of the episode, because then we get to the Pirates of the Caribbean moment. And they get down to the place, even though they had an option of going up to Letty's house through the elevator, but they decided not to. They just keep going through. They know it's a water coming, but they still keep going. And they get to the place where these bodies are. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. What show am I watching right now?
Because clearly you're no longer watching what we thought was Lovecraft country at this point.
I mean, again, I didn't know what to really expect from the show. So it's like, for me, it's a lot going on. But anyway, and they proceed to go and grab the map, thinking it's not booby trap, even though the entire time they're going through life-threatening obstacles that are even magic.
It's literally warned when Atticus was reading around the entrance to the damn temple of what would happen. So how don't you know this is haunted? How did you think you were just gonna come on?
And so I don't remember if it was Letty or it was Atticus. I feel like it was Atticus. He just took the daggone thing. I was like, bruh, look, can y'all poke it with a stick or something? Like, what do you think is going to happen if you grab this, that something has a death grip on it? Y'all have seen vampires. Y'all have seen ghosts. Y'all have seen witchcraft. At this point,
they still come across as naive in a situation they shouldn't anymore. You can be naive at the beginning, but not everything you done been through at this point, that can't be the case no more. Y'all just fought ghosts. You just fought a ghost. How you not think that temple was going to be booby trapped?
And the weird thing is, like, I think I was more frustrated with the dad because one, they made him just seem so bumbling and like useless. Useless. And yet this man has the most knowledge out of everybody. He knows what's going on.
He knows everything.
And he doesn't.
And it's even established earlier in the episode. Within the first 10 minutes of the episode, it's established that his dad knows everything humanly possible about the people on the other side. Everything. He's read every book. As we see Atticus at a library reading a book, and then as he's going through the books that he chose to read to research this, he says dad name at the bottom. Dad name here, dad name here. Like his dad's already done all this research. So if you did all this research, wouldn't you know better at this point?
It's like, why would you allow them to get to that point? Now, this is where might be where things might take a shift. We don't know. We haven't seen past the 5 episodes. Maybe that the dad was trying to create a ruse, because at the end of the episode, they get this gosh darn mummy out from the mummy in the Pirates of the Caribbean. This chick who actually isn't a chick. She's actually both. She has both female and male organs.
Yes.
And they vividly show it for whatever reason.
It's HBO. They showing everything now.
And they get her back to the house, and she loses her voice because she's not supposed to get out. But then the dad goes into the realm that I thought he really was from the beginning, and just proceeds to say, "I'm sorry," just slits her throat, and
with no hesitation,
like stone cold. And it's weird. This is the problem with this episode, is that they made him look so bumbling that it lost its effectiveness when it happened. It was surprising, yes. Was it executed well? Yes. But it didn't have that momentum built to actually make it resonate for me. Because then it's kind of like, oh, this whole entire time, he might have just trying to get to this person to keep this away from them. That he wanted to get it so that he could destroy it. Just like he did the book, he wanted to do the same exact thing with her.
Yes.
But it's like they go through this Indiana Jones, Mummy, National Treasure, Harry Potter.
Just name all the movies where they go into deep tunnels. Golden Child, everything.
For no good reason to get me to that point, bruh. They didn't have to do any of that. They didn't have to do none of it, fam. And
this is not the worst episode of this season.
It's not.
It's the most irritating one.
Yeah.
Because you wonder, like, well, why are we going through all this? And then you're walking on a bridge that disappears. Like, none of this makes sense. None of it makes sense. It's just a show that I think they've embraced the crazy of the show. Yeah. At this point, and that's what they're going for at this point, along with the horror elements. Granted, this episode again, no horror elements in this episode. Way more adventure in this episode. It still kind of feels weird for Lovecraft Country. It's not an overly adventurous show. Like
It's just going back into the anthology thing that we talked about. The only scary thing in this episode was the dad, and he wasn't even scared for half of the beginning of the episode and the end, were the only sensibly scary things that really weren't that scary, because they lost from the first part of the episode to the last part. The whole middle of the episode lost that effectiveness. Yes. Going from that point to that point. If they would have structured it, instead of even doing this whole thing, I would have just loved to just see who this man is. What is his backstory? Give me more, but they didn't go that route. But you get some in the 5th episode, though.
Boy, do you ever get some in the 5th episode. But even the relationships of how he got this information, like, it's hinted towards things possibly going on with Montrose in this episode, but it's not said. But just how he has these relationships that these people can get him in to even check at night. Like, that's stuff that we need to know, and that can work so well for this show. But in this episode, they chose to go a completely different route and not really explain much of anything. Even when they got to the point of rescuing the woman, she's something else also. We see that from the writings and tattoos all over her. She's something else, but we just don't know what it is. Which again is unnecessary confusion. It's unnecessary confusion.
Yeah, it's like, does it matter? Because she got his throat slashed at this point. So who really knows? The thing about this episode, it's not the worst episode. It's a useless episode. It's completely useless,
because when you go back and you think of all the things that's been revealed, even in bad episodes, again, episode 2, we said it's a horrible episode, but it reveals a lot of things to you. Episode 4 doesn't really reveal much anything to you. It's like it's holding everything to the vest and waiting for future episodes for stuff to be revealed to you.
Yeah.
But you can't do that on this type of show.
Yeah.
And you got to make every week count. So you can't be throwing away weeks, and this is a throwaway week.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. And again, my issue was from the title, I was assuming that this was going to surround why the dad is what he is. Yes, he has two pivotal moments this episode. But it's at the beginning and the end of the episode. Every other time that he's in it, I'm like, who is this man?
And they're
like,
still
I love you, son. Oh, I'm proud of you, son.
And
oh, I got this, son.
They never explain fully his actions at the beginning or the end of the episode.
None. And it's they kept it a mystery because, as we said, from the second or first episode, how did the dad even wind up there? Why was he there? Why did he even go there?
See, again, I told you I threw away the source material, but I'll break it out here for you. In the book, the dad meets Samuel. And Samuel and the dad go searching for information, which leads the dad to being where he's found in the first episode. But because none of that is put in there, all we know is that he's been doing research on this stuff.
Yep.
That's it. We know nothing else, but he's doing research. And he's doing the research to try to figure out everything and hide stuff from Atticus that he feels he should not know.
Because it feels like the dad has already reached everything. And he's trying to burn his tracks so that Atticus doesn't reach there. Instead of just telling him, instead of just being like, yo, look, I've already done all this stuff, man. Like, look, if you really want to kill me, that's fine. But don't kill yourself, because doing this is going to burn you and everybody else you live and love around you. So
and that's the problem. This episode has no ramifications for any of their actions. In this episode, not a single one.
Nah, bruh, they lost me at this scene right here. Let me see if I can pull it up. Hold up.
Because
I mean, they lost me before that, but I was like, "What is this Pirates of the Caribbean moment?" It even looks like a set of the Pirates of the Caribbean, bro.
I was watching this episode like, what the heck is going on? Why is that thing moving back and forth like that? Why is it all of a sudden growing and it's fully formed? And it's artistic integrity. At times we don't have to understand it, but whomever made it, I'm assuming they understand it, and that's why they made it the way they did.
Yeah, and to be fair, and this is going on the subjective side, looking at both sides, the shot. The circle around shot of it and the formation of it was really dope. Like, I'm not gonna fake that. Like, when she was actually forming and they did like a full surrounding circle until she's moving around that was a really dope shot. But it's like, I don't know.
I think that's something we have to give them credit for. Like, the directors they have picked and chosen, along with the other cameramen involved or women involved in this show, shots look great. So many of these shots look great. They're just, that's it. That's the only problem. That's it. You don't get these beautiful shots, but then you're stuck after that point. And that's how I felt with this episode, because it was a nowhere going fast episode.
Yeah.
It seemed like a lot of stuff was going on, but they clearly only had one purpose this entire episode. And when that purpose wasn't reached, you saw what happened with the other officers.
Yeah. It looks like the cinematographer is Robert McLaren, and he's done episode 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to do 8 and 10. So
in other words, are we
from a cinematography standpoint, we're gonna get some. We get some good shots, I guess. Trying to look, he actually did some stuff with Game of Thrones as well, so he's a good cinematographer.
Yes, yes, because he knocks this one out the park. He's been knocking this out for the first 4 episodes. Because I can say how bad the narrative is. I can say the acting is subpar, but one thing I cannot say is the way this show is shot is bad.
Yeah.
It is shot really well.
Yeah, and we didn't even talk about like the chase scene in the first episode. The way that they filmed it was very unique, because I was kind of like, oh man, I'm just gonna be something I've seen before. But no, like they actually put a lot of effort into the angles and the way that it was actually shot. It throws Lucas off because of the way that the score and the music choices.
Oh my god! Oh my goodness! Was this the episode that started with the Rihanna song? It is.
Oh, after the dad, yeah, it
yes,
did.
It did.
After the dad burned the
when that
book,
came on,
it started with that.
I knew then. I said, you know what? Just throw your hands up, because that song should not be playing here for any moment in the 1950s. You can't give me that as an excuse anymore. I think that at this point, it's good to honestly say that Lovecraft Country has disappointed. It's also good to say they have so many great ideas. You just want them fleshed out more.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree that the show has so much potential, and it has a lot of great things in it. And I think that, again, I've said this, I don't know how many times, 4 times now, that the normal consumers are going to be very intrigued by it, and they're going to be very like, wow, this is very interesting. Like, what more we got? What's next? And I think that that's where they're trying to play too. But to Lucas's point, we had this conversation before. I don't know if this show doesn't go past the first season, will it be considered successful? Because I don't know if people are going to look back on this and be like, if this ends up being a limited series and they don't do something different, I don't know. We'll see.
That's all you can say at this point is we'll see. Because, again, they haven't, at this point, they put together pieces of good episodes, but they haven't completely put together that episode. Yeah. Now, it could be because maybe Misha Green wasn't prepared to work out her story the way that they're clearly working it out now with this show. I'm assuming that's it. I'm trying to find an excuse for this episode, especially. Like, this episode is heavily CGI is involved in it. And then the characters just aren't thinking. And it's hard to watch a show where the characters stop thinking.
Yeah, it's kind of like they were written to make stupid mistakes for no good reason. It's not like they are emotionally compromised and they're like, oh, I'm gonna, like, no, like they just working out of pocket, out of character.
Yes.
From what we've seen of them, or what lack of what we've seen of them, I should say. But yeah, that's enough of this. Again, I think we touched on the good things and the bad things.
I want to get this guy's name right. Is it Jonathan Majors? Jonathan Majors.
Oh, that plays Atticus? Yeah.
Yes. He is killing this role so much so. He's killing this role in this series. I think the issue is I'm disconnected from the loss of Courtney B. Vance so early, because the way they played off each other, I think could have been so much better for this show. And because Uncle George doesn't really die in the book, I'm still confused about that. But you killed him off here, but now trying to build that other chemistry, or just decide to live with other characters at this point. You got to do one or the other. This National Treasure episode was just such a disappointment.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely agree. I think that Jonathan Majors is doing a phenomenal job. And honestly, I mean, to be fair, Journey has had some really key moments in I would say, the third and the first episode that were really surprising to me. She had one moment where she was just like breaking down in the third episode, and I was like, because she in the third episode, and I didn't bring this up as much, but in the third episode, she goes through every kind of different emotion.
Yeah.
And they all are effectively done or captured through camera. And that's hard to do. Like some actors can kind of like, try to touch things, but he really did go for it. It was just this episode, in comparison to that episode, with her performance, they made her this one note just pistol for no good reason. And yeah. But I mean, I will say, her and Jonathan have good chemistry. Yes. I think that their chemistry is very organic, very natural. They were casted well together. But yeah, that's
about it for
that's a positive. That's a positive. We gave y'all some. Look,
hey, we gave you
some positivity. Go to my non-spoiler review. Go to that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Go to that. But we're gonna stop here. We got one more to go.
One more.
No more locked doors. Bye, guys.